Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is your boy, Thunderdrake Studios, coming at you with another spicy deck profile. Today, I am truly living up to my intro quote with spicy. We have KOZMO True Draco. So, I originally was playing pure True Draco, but a big weakness I noticed with that deck is that it really gets blown out by evenly matched, and even cards like Twin Twisters, Cosmic Cyclone, even well-timed MST could really just hurt the deck. So what I decided to do, I noticed that Diagram has a lot of synergy with the KOZMO cards. I turned the deck from a slow-based control deck to a faster, beat-your-face-in OTK deck that, with a good hand, can burn you for over 10,000 points of damage. But before we get into the deck profile, please make sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends about this channel. I'd like to grow. I'd like to hit 100 subscribers, 1,000, grow even further than that. But that's all I have to say. Let's get straight to the deck profile. We're going to start off with the KOZMOs. We have the big ships, as you already know. We got one Dark Eclipser. I originally wasn't playing this, but I noticed that some trap cards really blew this deck out. In particular, flipping an anti-spell when I have to go first is particularly annoying. So Dark Eclipser just really helps turn cards like that off. Also turns off Evenly Matched, which is very good. But its best effect is its second effect, the Searcher for the Big Daddy, Dark Destroyer himself. This card's incredible. It's untargetable, it's 3,000 attack points, and on summon it pops a monster. This card is the reason the Striker matchup is a buy. Next, we have 2 Foreigner. I like 2 over more than 1. I just thought 2 was better simply because, it's another untargetable ship that you can float down into. And, just having more ships like in your hand with cards like Diagram and then popping or shuffling back in with like KOZMO Town, you just need that. Just because this deck does struggle a little bit from consistency issues. It's not too bad, but that's the biggest weakness. And then to round out the ships, we do have 2 copies of our our Slip Rider. Dark Slip Rider? Yes, definitely. But anyways, this card's also really good. That's actually what I cut the 3rd copy of for the Dark Eclipser. But this one's the worst one to pop with Diagram because you have to float into a pilot. Sometimes you want to be able to, like for Dark Destroyer, you want to be able to float down to a Forerunner. But other than that, you really don't need any more than this. The ships can be bricks if you see a bunch of them with no way to get them out of your hands. But other than that, they're pretty good. Now we have the pilots. If you know KOZMOs, you have your ships and you have your pilots. The best one, Dark Lady. Only run 1 because, again, we're trying to go second, but she's a solid going first option. If you see her, if you see Tin Can, you search her, or Dark Eclipser, or Dark Destroyer, regardless of interrupting your opponent. She's just a really good card, and arguably one of the better pilots. Wicked Witch, she's just so you don't get OTK'd, you special summon her in defense, and then pay 1,000, just say, I'm not taking any more damage this turn. Your opponent basically has to have a negate for that, or they're just going to have to pass. Then the Good Witch, if there's any card I would cut for like something else, I'd probably cut this one. The reason you run this in here is because your worst matchup is Thunder Dragons. This deck really hates Thunder Dragon, Colossus in particular. Titan isn't that bad, but Colossus really puts a damper on what this deck can do, so you want to be able to Book of Moon that card as fast as possible. So she's okay. Against everything else, she's subpar, but flipping for example a Mirage Stalio down isn't terrible. But yeah, she's the worst pilot. Next, for one of the better ones, we have the one Farm Girl. I didn't like playing her at 2 because opening pilots tends to be a brick if you just open a bunch of pilots. This deck does have the slight issue that if you open too many pilots or too many ships, it can be a little awkward to play with those hands. But again, you're playing the Draco engine, so you can get those out of your hand and start drawing cards to help even out your hands. The best pilot by far is Strawman. This card is incredible. So if you have Dark Destroyer in hand with Diagram and then any Draco card, you're hitting your opponent for a ton of damage because you're going to pop the Dark Destroyer to search for your other Draco card to get a Draco monster on board. Strawman, and then you special summon Strawman, and then Strawman effects target your banished Dark Destroyer. You get 3,500 points of free damage that turn. And that's assuming you don't have another Draco card or another freaking ship in hand or a Farm Girl. You can dish out so much damage with this deck, it's crazy. And then for the last pilot, we have the Trash Can. We're not trying to go first, so you only really need 1, I think. It is good because it is another, you can special summon, any of your pilots if you need to, but this card's okay. I almost considered cutting it. For better or for worse, this card's good, but it's not really good going second with it, which is, like I said, this is what this deck wants to do. So that's it for KOZMO monsters. Most of the monsters are KOZMO monsters because the Dracos, you only play 5. You only play the 3 Maiden, then 1 Ignis, 1 Dino. I am considering actually cutting one of the Maidens for the Marianne, the Wind True King. That's not really a True King. But the reason that card's good is because if you have Maiden on board, and like a ship in hand, for example, you search Mariam when your opponent activates a card or effect. And then if Maiden like doesn't get killed, next turn you pop Maiden and the ship in hand, especially summon a 2700 attack point beater, and then you get a search off the ship. But I just thought that it was a little too bricky because you also needed to open Maiden with it, and it just wasn't very good. You could run that, I wouldn't recommend it though. But that's it for all the monsters. We only play a few hand traps, just 3 Valor. That's all you really need. This deck has so much spot removal that you really don't need to stop their plays too much because you can just break their board. Yeah, so that's it for monsters. Like I said, there's at least 20. I haven't counted them up exactly. Let me know in the comments exactly how many monsters I am running, and you can win, I don't know, free prize, I guess. Now for the spells. This is the god card in the deck. 3 copies of Diagram. You want to see this in a ship all the time. If you do that, you're winning. Like, this card is insane. Like, popping a ship, searching a Draco, you're basically putting 3 damage on board at that point and destroying your opponent's field in the same time. But when that's not the only field spell we run, we also run 2 Town, because Town's a good card as well. It's just like Diagram, its effect is not a hard once per turn. So it is a solid card. You don't want to see 2 of it, but seeing 1 with a fistful of like pilots, I mean, it definitely unbreaks your hand at that point. And the best effect, which interacts better with set rotation, which we're playing this deck, is that when it's destroyed, it searches a KOZMO card. So you can search a Dark Destroyer when you destroy this, and then Diagram pop the Destroyer to search again, and then the Destroyer gets you even more damage with your Strawman play that I said earlier. And of course, we really want to see our field spells, so we also play Terraforming. Then we have a small Draco engine. We do play 3 Heritage with only 1 Disciples. I'm iffy about this ratio. 3 Heritage is insane. I love it. Like, you draw so many cards off of this. But Disciples, we do play Desires, and sometimes banishing this can hurt, and sometimes you have to burn this. But this deck really isn't trying to grind too much. It's just Disciples really helps if you need to. But like I said, that effect doesn't really come up too often. Most of the time, you're just trying to beat your opponent's face in on the first turn. Then we do play 3 more spells, 2 Desires, and then E-Telly. If I cut Good Witch for anything, it would probably be for 3rd Desires, because Desires is so free in this deck. Like, the only thing that really hurts sometimes is like banishing a bunch of pilots or like all 3 Dark Destroyer or Diagram. But that almost never happens. Like, the chance of that happening is next to none, and Desires is just insane. And then we already know Emergency Teleport. This card is so good. Just tutoring out a farm girl for free is insane. We do play 3 traps as well, 2 Apocalypse, and then the Return. This is another kind of considering cutting, maybe for like the Storm, what's the card called? The Storm Dragon's Return, I think it is. It's the card that special summons a monster from the Banish Zone, but you could play that. But from what I've experienced, Return, just destroying monsters during your opponent's turn, is so good because, like, if you have to go first, you really don't have too many interruptions, so you want to be able to destroy those monsters just so you can put out a ton of damage next turn. And yeah, that really wraps up for the deck. No extra deck because you really don't need it. You could play, and I probably will actually start playing like Cyber Dragon Nova, Infinity, Volgasaurus, Big Eye, because we can make all those things. But you really don't need the extra deck. And then side deck, there's really not much that needs to be said. All you're really trying to side for is, for the most part, just Thunder Dragon. Because Striker is pretty easy. Salamangreat's okay if they don't like open insane. Orchist is okay, but like you have the Cyber Dragon in the side deck with the Fortress Dragon to just blow away their board. But yeah, like I said, this is a pretty strong deck. It can OTK super fast if you needed to, but it can also play the control game very well. So, what did you guys think? Would you start playing this deck? Let me know down in the comment section below. Anyways, this is your boy, Thunderjack Studios, signing out. Peace.